So this is session 4 of After Pentecost. The opposition that the embryonic church, it began to grow, and it seemed to reach a head at the killing of Stephen. At the beginning of chapter 8 it says, "On that day a great persecution broke out against the church in Jerusalem, and all except the apostles were scattered throughout Judea and Samaria." So it would seem like a great victory for those who opposed the church. By scattering them, they would lose their power. But in fact, the opposite happened. The scattered believers began to spread the news of Jesus to all the places where they had gone. Now the Sanhedrin were fierce in their opposition, and one young man in particular was vehemently opposed. It says he was breathing out murderous threats against the Lord's disciples. His name was Saul, and he'd stood by and watched as Stephen had been stoned to death, and it says he approved of it. Now he was a trained Pharisee, a very intelligent man. He went to the high priest to get letters to the synagogues in Damascus, giving him the authority to take prisoners of all those who followed the way of Jesus and to bring them back to Jerusalem. But we know Saul never made it. On the way there, he had a dramatic encounter with Jesus, and his life was completely turned around. He became known as Paul, and what had been his zeal for destroying the church became his zeal for preaching Jesus and spreading the word. He was a powerful teacher. He was an encourager of the non-Jewish people who'd come to believe in Jesus. And a lot of our knowledge of the early church comes from the letters that he has written to all the groups around the Mediterranean. At the same time, Peter too was doing amazing things. We read of healings. We read of him raising Dorcas to life. He also had another amazing escape from prison. This time he was shackled to 2 guards, and an angel came in the night and undid the shackles, and they walked through a number of doors, past guards, and eventually the outer doors just opened of themselves and they walked through. He was set free, much to the amazement of the group who was praying exactly for that. It was also Peter who had a vision from God to show that the news was not just for Jews, it was for everyone. And he says this, "I now realise how true it is that God does not show favouritism, but accepts those from every nation who fear him and do what is right." So this was a time of great growth, even though there was huge opposition. One of the fastest growing churches in the world today is the underground church in China. Now they face huge persecution, and yet they are growing fast. It seems like hard times bring growth, while easy times lead to falling away. Where the church becomes too comfortable, it loses power. Now, I'm not actually advocating a good dose of persecution, but until we're challenged on what we believe, we don't distill in our minds what it is that really matters to us. And while things are good, it's very easy to just sit on the fence, waver between one belief and another. The early church was passionate about Jesus, and nothing was able to stop them. Where is our passion?
We